Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. Just to remind you that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to interact with the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app on the Android, iOS, and Windows platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the app on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now, let's just share with you some of those pictures that were sent in to us on our Eyewitness portal in a few minutes. All right, that's it. The first one is this one showing a rundown health facility, which our Eyewitness reporter says is a hospital in Idiato South, Imo State. He wants the government to do something about it urgently. Next is this one showing loaves of bread for sale, which our reporter says are not fit for consumption. He says this was spotted in Inaugurates area of Lagos, and he wants the State Ministry of Health to look into it. Finally is this picture showing a moving train with some passengers sitting on top. Our reporter says this is a common feature in the Agege area of Lagos, and the government should please take action. Well, thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and we'd like to receive more from you. Now, the swearing-in ceremony is over, and the work of managing the affairs of the Electoral Commission is expected to begin in earnest. But what really lies ahead for the INEC chairman and his team? In this next report, our political correspondent Seun Okimbaloye gives us a sense of what to look forward to from the new leadership.
It is no doubt one of the most sensitive public offices in Nigeria, the office of the INEC chairman. The activities of INEC easily generate agitations across the country. Professor Atairo Jegati's exit leaves behind a huge shoe to fill. At least that is what many Nigerians feel about the integrity of the commission during his time.
Before he came in, a lot of negative impression of INEC, but that has been built up significantly. And I believe Professor Jega has achieved this by bringing more transparency into the process.
A new man, another professor takes charge.
Do solemnly swear.
As he takes oath of office alongside some of his national commissioners, the many challenges facing our electoral process will start to emanate. But during his screening at the Senate, he made bold to say there won't be any compromise under his watch.
Never again will elections be won and lost at the INEC headquarters.
Confidence from the Electoral Commission's #1 man, but then the reality of sustaining the pace of work will be paramount. The permanent voter card and the card readers are some of the innovations by the Commission under Professor Jega, some of the things which have now become a bone of contention at the different electoral tribunals. What becomes of these inventions will be a task Professor Yakubu will have to take on.
Simple technology, for me, that's where it would be important to begin. Even if we're to make advances in that area, it doesn't have to be as expensive as elections have been in this country.
Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship elections are just a few weeks away. Those will be a real test for the new chairman. As he gets down to work, many will not only judge him by the success of his office now, but there will be comparison with his immediate predecessor. Seun Okimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, joining me to discuss the task before the electoral umpire is a legal practitioner, Mr. Matthias Emeribe. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, the swearing-in ceremony is over, but you remember long before this time, we've had the whole controversy over the constitution of the INEC board, how many commissioners, etc. With what you've seen now, does this put that debate to rest?
Well, thank you very much. I think first, by the appointment of those that were inaugurated today, it will appear on the face of it that the president is actually listening. On the face of it, that was my language. But legally speaking, the fact that the provision of the Constitution provides for 13 members, including the chairman, to constitute the board of INEC. For all intents and purposes, the constitutional provision has not been met. And of course, what it therefore means is that not until that 13 members are constituted first, because you must first have the board constituted first before you now start talking of the quorum or any other thing that does not fit in, as it were, to constitute. Because when the constitution has made provision shall, it is mandatory that that number must first be complete. That is what constitutes the board of INEC.
You mean the 13 now?
The 13 is what constitutes the board of INEC. So the president is under a constitutional duty to appoint that 13 members. In other words, at the moment we have just 7. So he has to fill in, appoint additional 6 to constitute that board. Then thereafter, we can then begin to talk about quorum. Because for them, what probably may have, they have at the back of their mind is that by appointing 7, we have surpassed even the number,
6.
the quorum that is required to constitute the board. But the constitution did not say appoint quorum. If the constitution intended that to happen, it would have expressly said so. And the implication therefore is that if you are appointing 7,
6.
Okay, 6, then if you now add the chairman, the question is that what will now constitute the quorum for the number you have appointed, which falls short of what the constitution says.
So are you saying that you're concerned now that with what we have, the number we have right now, they cannot go ahead and function, conduct elections?
It still falls short of the constitutional provision, not until you have done that. And let me tell you, with all due respect, now, some decisions and actions have been taken pursuant for purposes of conducting the forthcoming elections in Kogi and in Bayelsa. Now, it is expected that upon the appointment of the board, the constituted board, the board as provided under the Constitution, those actions naturally ought to be ratified by the board. Now, as it stands now, that board is not complete. We don't have a board of INEC. And so, the law, because this is not a statutory provision, where probably we are now asking for our own discretion to come in here. No, it is express and it is clear.
So what should the first thing be?
My take simple is that,
Ask ahead.
my take is that, look, I'm aware, or I want to think, let me believe that the report we are having is that by Wednesday, the Federal Executive Council will be inaugurated. Now, when they are sworn in, of course, there will be an Attorney General, who, of course, will advise the President urgently to the fact that these 6 new members ought to be appointed to constitute the board of INEC. It's a different thing when we are talking about a vacancy or maybe somebody died. Those are things that are outside that contemplation of what the Constitution says. But within the purview of what the Constitution, you cannot force upon the Constitution what is not provided for, deliberately doing that. Because we are not talking of a case of emergency here that will warrant the government not to appoint some other members who will make it up to 13 for purposes of constituting the board of INEC.
All right, thank you so much, legal practitioner Mr. Matthias Emeribeth, for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.
You're welcome.
Now, the House of Representatives has inaugurated the 96 standing committees of the House in the special session. The Senate President, who was present at the event, said the National Assembly cannot afford to fail and must be above board in their dealings. The Speaker of the House explained that the committees were inaugurated together to save costs. Our correspondent Larry Lassisi reports.
Representatives of service chiefs, traditional rulers, former presiding officers and other invited guests. They're here for a special session to inaugurate the 96 standing committees of the House of Representatives. The composition of these committees has been a source of contention for some time now, but it appears all is resolved. To mark the event, a former Deputy Speaker of the House presented a paper on the role of committees in the presidential system of government. He spoke on the issue of juicy committees.
When I hear of juicy committees, I think it's a misnomer because, first of all, the term, if it's to be used at all committees are viable. It depends on the committee membership and leadership. Committees that are created by Parliament and have an organ of government to supervise can build the capacities they require themselves. So no committee should be seen as juicy or as not important. All committees are equally important.
The chairman of the National Assembly, Senate President Bukola Saraki, who graced the occasion, said the committees have to perform.
I enjoin the new committees to operate above board. This has become necessary as we seek to re-engineer our economy and introduce a new regime of openness, efficiency, probity, and institutional integrity. We cannot afford to fail Nigerians.
The Speaker explained why the committees were being inaugurated together.
The decision to formally inaugurate all the committees at once is born out of the need for the committees to hit the ground running. It is also informed by the need to save costs and reduce legislative time that may be spent in inaugurating each committee independently.
He also touched on the issue of juicy committees and said the committees must work.
Let me use this opportunity to restate that there's nothing like juicy committee or non-juicy committees. I personally do not understand what is meant by that. If it means opportunity to contribute, we can assure you that every member of a committee will enjoy ample and equal opportunity. This is no time for partisanship. It is time for work. The urgency of our work demands that we put the nation first before any other interest. Nigeria first.
So it appears the controversy over the composition of these committees has been laid to rest. And with this event now concluded, the committees can now get to work and commence oversight on the different ministries, departments, and agencies. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, 5 more lawmakers of the All Progressives Congress in the House of Representatives are said to have rejected the chairman and deputy chairman positions offered them by the Speaker of the House. This brings to 7 the number of members who have rejected the positions given to them, as 2 members had rejected their positions last week. Speaking at the party secretariat, some of the members of the Loyalist group demanded that the Speaker reverse the current order and reconstitute the committees in favour of the APC. Now, when the news at 10 returns, the Securities and Exchange Commission asks professionals to adopt corporate governance codes. And that will be on business. Do join us again.